Welcome to the WangHiro podcast, where we answer Malaysians' burning questions about personal finance with fact-based answers.
Bonia is one of the pioneer luxury brands from Malaysia. They have over 700 outlets across Asia. Other than their own namesake brand though, Bonia also owns brands you might be familiar with like Braun Buffalo, Valentino Rudy, and Santa Barbara Polo and Racquet Club. Today we're asking, should you invest in Bonia? Welcome back to Financial Audit on WangHiro, where we guide absolute beginners every step of their way in their investing journey. Joining us today on this show is Salene, a Gen Z who started out having only invested in fixed deposits. Since joining our series, she has taken her first steps into the investing world by opening her brokerage account. Now we are helping her decide which company to invest in by letting her choose the companies herself and bringing them onto this show to analyze together. In today's episode, we will be looking at Bonia's investing potential with Salene. So welcome back to the show, Salene.
Hi, good to be back.
Do you own any Bonia, Braun Buffel, or any one of their brand products, actually, Salene?
Last time I got a Renoma purse.
Interesting. Okay, so question number one, Salene. What is the first question we normally ask?
What business are they in?
Okay. So earlier in the introduction, Louis actually said that they own certain brands. I'd just like to add on that while Valentino Rudy, and Renoma and Santa Barbara are listed as the brands here, they don't actually own the brand, but they actually hold the license to distribute the brand for Malaysia and Singapore. So they don't actually own it, but they help them distribute lah. So if you can see here, it says license for Valentino Rudy in Malaysia and Singapore. Holds the license for Renoma in Malaysia and Singapore, and for Santa Barbara also owns the license. But Braun Buffel, yes, is their own brand. Bonia is their own brand. Sambonia also is their own brand. So these three. Okay. So apart from their leather, they're actually the key that people want to know Bonia is they are leather goods lah, in a way. Leather goods. And this Valentino Rudy, Renoma, and all these are more of the apparels and clothing line, right? So from what you see, Salene, does this brand actually appeal to the younger crowd? In a way, we're touching question 3, but what do you think from your point of view?
I mean, the 3 brands right now?
Yeah, the 3 and also the brands on top, the whole portfolio of brands. Do you think that they talk to the brand talk or appeal to the younger crowd?
Yeah, for Braun Buffel.
For Braun Buffel, right? What about the other brands? The Bonia one, you think the design is a little bit old, right?
Yeah, a bit like vintage.
Vintage. Okay, I like that one.
Even the logo is not updated, I think. Yeah.
I think they need a brand refresh, to be honest.
They did. Oh yeah, they need one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they need one. They need a brand refresh for the Bonia brand, especially. Braun Buffel, I think that's okay. Braun Buffel are really a bit more timeless from my point of view. A bit more timeless. Okay. So second question, Salene. What should we be looking at, Bonia?
Are they profitable and stable?
Okay, cool. Let's look at them. So this is Bonia. Ooh, okay. Struggling a little bit with sales. All right. What about their net profit? Looking at their net income. Okay, they did one very bad year in 2020. Net income of only 2.8 million. Okay. But they seem to have bounced back even higher. Okay. So I want you to notice something, Salene. In 2016, their sales was 665 million and they brought in a net income of only 24 million. Okay. In 2023, they brought in sales of only 424 million, which is less than 665, but the net income is 55 million. Now, if you look at this and I ask you directly, what are you seeing actually?
They, even though their revenue is lower, but they earn more in terms of net income.
Yes. So what does that speak to in terms of margins? Higher
Lower costs.
Lower cost or higher margins? It can be selling at a higher price, but selling less. Okay. But then my cost, let's say cost remains the same. There's a few options. Cost remains the same, but I sell a higher price, but less units. Yeah. Correct, right? But my margins are higher. Or my cost is decreased, which is very unlikely in today's day and age. Okay. and then they sell the cost has decreased, sell the same units, and then sell the same price. Okay, so look at their gross margin. I want you to take a look at the gross margins. So gross margins is actually sales minus your cost of goods sold, right? What happens to their margins? Increasing or decreasing?
Increasing.
Increasing, right?
Yeah.
What about their operating margins or their net? Operating margins increasing or decreasing?
Also increasing.
Also increasing. Okay, now last one. Look at their net margins, which is this one. Can you see the one highlighted in yellow? Increasing or decreasing?
Increasing.
Increasing, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to showcase here is that sometimes a decline in revenue or a flat line in revenue doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. Obviously, you want everything to grow lah. But sometimes in a saturated market or in a very niche market, what you may be looking at is, I want to grow margin expansion rather than sales at all costs. So because if you sales at all costs, sometimes you sell, right? You're selling at a loss, But what you want to do is you want to sell and you want to make sure you make money, margins increasing, right? Margin expansion. So I think I have to salute the company for trying to do this, which is a good thing. Okay. Now look at their cash flow. Not bad. Every year cash flow positive. Okay. Over the past, 2016 until now, it's about 5-6 years. Okay. And
this year is negative though.
Cash flow, is it?
Huh.
It seems positive here though. This one you refer to from Yahoo, is it, or Google Finance?
Google Finance.
Cash flow. For June. Oh, okay. Oh, this is cash flow from operations. Positive lah. I think this one is net change in cash. Is this the one you're seeing, Salene?
Yeah. Annually.
This one annual. This is not operating cash flow. This is net change in cash.
Oh.
So again, what we're looking for is cash flow from operations. It's negative, yet change is negative, but it's a positive number. What you're looking at this bar is net change in cash. Net change in the cash. So from last year's cash to this year, the change in it is a negative because it came down.
Means it's reducing lah.
Yes. Actually, once we go to free cash flow, also I see a lot of people get confused because they get confused between free cash flow, which is really operating cash flow minus capex is your free cash flow, and actually net change in cash. Also, this one also they get confused in that lah.
Oh.
Yeah. Because free cash flow, you notice or not, Salene, is not an official accounting term.
Yeah.
In your accounts,
your free course will come in, John.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yes, which is coming up very soon, by the way, Louis and Salene. I think by the time this recording is released, it should be out already. It should be out.
Nice.
Accounting, how to read accounting 101 and all that. Yeah, but I don't know whether we will go this detail. It will woof past a lot of people. I'm sharing with a trained accountant here.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
You already moved past me just now.
Yeah. Okay, so coming back to this, to Bonia. Let me share this tab. Yeah, so operating cash flow was positive for 2023. Their financial year end is in June. So maybe I think Salene will know this, but Louis, just to let you know, you see all these dates. This is when the financial year end report. We always assume it's 31st December, but if you look at the date here, it's 6/6. That means their financial year ended in June. So now it's September, right? No, now, oh my God, I still thinking September. It's December. This is considered middle of financial year 2024 for Bonia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Their financial year end for 2023 ended in June. So July will be first month of financial year 2024. The weird ones I've seen is usually the ala months, July ka or April ka.
March.
Very, very rare lah. Very, very rare. And usually these kind of companies, they keep changing is because they want to hide the financials. Usually. Most of the time you do end end December, end June. End December, end June, very common. Most people do end June is they want to, they know that the auditors are not that busy.
Oh,
So they try to, but it messes up the accounts because let's say your supplier is financial year end December, or your clients is financial year end December. That's why accounting a bit messed up lah. So they try to synchronize lah. But that's why auditors end of the year forget about Christmas holiday, forget about that one is because everyone financial year December.
Yes, usually it's December.
Yeah. So yeah, these little nuances are Louis, you know, like accountants, auditors, they will know. But
after I attend, I go through your free course, John, then I will know.
Okay, so financially stable, yeah. Okay, so in terms of where they're trying to head it is they're not growing sales at all costs. They're trying to do what we call margin expansion. Okay, so yeah. So question number 3, I think we touched a little bit for the addressable market. Salene, in your opinion, based on what you see as your friends or family member shopping behavior, why would they want to go to a Bonia or any one of the brands actually?
Because it's a luxury brand.
Luxury and then not as expensive, I would say,
Yeah.
as the other
Maybe
guys.
this is the lower end of the luxury brands.
Correct. They call it, there's a term for it, you know, Salene. It's called Mastige. Mass prestige. It's a industry, apparently it's a standard industry term. I also learned about it quite recently only. Mastige.
Mastige.
Yeah, so it's mass, mass, but prestige. So I also learned there's a difference between premium and luxury. Now it seems like, why? It's just a play of words, right? Okay. So I give you an example. Let's see whether it makes sense to you. What do you think is luxury and brands, and what do you think is premium brands? Give me an example. Any one of you.
Premium brand.
Mm.
For me, premium brand will be maybe like Charles and Keith.
Okay. Luxury?
Luxury could be Gucci.
Gucci, Hermes, Louis Vuitton. Okay. So actually, on one of the podcasts I always listen to, they gave the example of this. You buy an iPhone and you add on like memory or hard disk space, memory and all that, right? That's premium. Okay. Luxury is, okay, the way they put it is, you actually don't need all these features. Like you buy an iPhone and then all of a sudden you got diamonds on the iPhone. And then it makes the iPhone like 20 times more expensive. That's luxury. So premium is like, so for me it's a damn clear distinction. You know?
It's quite good. Yeah.
Quite a good distinction, right? So you say you don't actually need it, okay, but you just want it because it's luxurious. It's like stupid people do it, you know, in a way. Okay, obviously they're not stupid, but they just want to do it just because they can, you know. So that you start your diamond, start your phone. It doesn't make the iPhone any better, right? Okay, so another example would be this. Look at a car. Okay, you got a Ferrari. They can go from 0 to 100 in 3 seconds. Okay, if you buy an electric car, it's almost the same, but there's a difference. The moment someone drives in a Ferrari, you get attention, right? But if you drive in with a Tesla Model 3, even though it's the performance version, it's like meh. Or you take a Myvi, you change the engine, everything, and then you make it as fast as a Ferrari, right? Which is not so difficult because Myvi is very light, right? Okay, but you have a Ferrari is because it's loud. It's like it wants to show
eye-catching.
Yeah, eye-catching. I'm who I am. I can drive a Ferrari. That's luxury. So yeah, I love that definition, and I think in a way it segregates what is premium, what is mastige, what is luxury. You know, yeah. So Bonia, I think, yep, it's really a mastige brand, and I think this is a very good trend for up and coming Gen Zs or millennials just starting the workforce. You know, probably 4 or 5 years into their before they move on to the Louis Vuittons and then actually usually they do. I think a Bonia, and then they move on to a Coach, and then usually Marc Jacobs, and then what's that brand? There's another brand, Michael Kors, Michael Kors, and then all the way up to your Gucci's, Chanel's, and your Hermes, right? So, okay, last question.
How cheap are they?
Okay, so valuation. Wow, okay. 7 times.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
7 times. Let's see. Yep, they are about 7 times to the. Okay, let's look at the whole thing. Ignore the outliers. Okay, mean is 10 for next 12 months. For last 12 months, mean is 14 times. Last is 7. So they're somewhere on the lower end, I would say, because mean is 11 and 14. The high is 20 and 71. I know. Let me zoom in so you guys can see. So mean is the middle 8.8, 7.3. High is 13, 14 times for next 12 months, and then low is about a high for last 12 months is about. Am I looking at this number correctly? Huh? 10 times only. Oh, this is 1 year. Sorry. 74 times, 72 times. Sorry, 72 times. So right now is about 7. So I would say a little bit more towards the lower side lah. A little bit more towards the lower side. Low is 4. The lowest they've gone is 4. Yeah, 4. So quite interesting in terms of valuation. If you were to look at it in terms of valuation today, I guess it's more about them going through margin expansion, but how much more can you go on margin expansion without expanding your sales? That's the question you have to come in lah. Because unless you expand your sales, then only your earnings will grow. Because you can only squeeze so much, with declining sales, right? You can only squeeze so much that you can get our margins, all right, to bring out earnings. But how far can you grow? Yeah. So maybe if they start, my guess, if they start acquiring, licensing for distribution of other brands, or they come out with a new line of products, or they refresh the Bonia brand to appeal to maybe a little bit more newer generation, maybe that would be a strategy required by the team lah. I mean, we've looked at the numbers financially. I think were they net cash? Did we do net cash just now? Okay, let me double check. 110 million. Oh, they're not net cash. They're net debt actually. 59 million. They have debt as about 169 million. And then they have cash of only about 110 million. So they are not net cash. They're actually net debt. Yeah. So yeah, I think even in the scenario now, if they want to buy over a new brand, whatever, I think they are not in the prime position unless they take on either equity or they take on debt lah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any questions, Salene?
I usually why I find Bonia is because when I research about Padini, I see that Bonia is competitor. But then when I read through Bonia, it's like they are not in the same level with Padini.
Precisely. And I think that's where you see, right? And you brought up a very good point, Salene. You see, when they look at competitors in the ticker or even Google Finance or whatever, right? There's about few 100,000 listed companies in the world. The problem is not all this segregation of segments. It's just that the categorization, the moment you're apparel, you lump into apparel with everyone else. But then I mean, going through all these exercises with us, right? You realize that, my goodness, you have to read each company on a case-by-case basis. Like if you compare like a Vinci, yes, they have footwear, but then you compare them to Nikes, you've got sports apparel, sports footwear for men, kids, whatever. It's different. And then you want to compare like, Louis and I, we did an episode on Under Armour. Under Armour actually started off with more sports apparel rather than footwear. Now they got footwear. So you see, where do they compete now? They compete with more the Nike, all right? Then you think about other brands. You've got Essex, you've got New Balance, okay? You've got Skechers. But Skechers, you realize they don't really have apparel, not much t-shirt whatsoever. Again, you have to do segmentation and differentiation from that aspect again, because it's not an apple to apple comparison. So you need to compare each company on its own merits. I hope you see where I'm coming from. Yeah. So it's like your child, don't say your sister or brother, come from the same family, right? But each child is different also, even though the surname is the same, right? Even twins, right? Sometimes twins, identical twins, but then the behavior, what they eat, what they like, the preferences is also different. Yeah. So any more questions, Ali?
No more already.
I have one question about
Ah.
the PE, right? So earlier, I think in the previous episode, you mentioned about like PE also like is like an estimate of people's like how bullish people are about the stock, right? So seeing such a low valuation, just 7, is it that people are just not really betting on this stock?
Yeah. So again, very good question, Louis. A lot of times market will bake their expectation into the share price. So what do we mean? Look at Nvidia. Nvidia is like PE of 100, if I'm not mistaken, 100 or more. I can't remember. Okay.
Gone crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Now why? Because everything is. I don't know if you notice any business when they come out marketing today, they'll put AI, they'll put machine learning, even though there's nothing related to it, but they will put AI there. Why? It's a buzzword. Everyone's looking forward. Everyone is baking expectation that it will go stronger or more, right? Now, in this case, in Bonia's case, or in FNN's case, they're like, oh my God, this is a dinosaur company. No one's gonna that one, right? But this is where, as an investor, your discerning judgment or decision will come into play. What everybody doesn't like is your job to find out, hey, are you guys missing something or not? Is there still a trend that everyone has taken for granted? Everyone's rushing to the hot thing. It's like, okay, I don't want to sound gender bias or whatever. It's like if you look at a girl in her 20s and you look at a girl at her 40s, it's very different, right? Everyone 20s, they will look at their looks, how beautiful she is, whatever. But then she may not have maturity in thought. She may not have maturity in other things, right? But when you look at a woman in 40, if she knows how to, take care of herself, well-groomed, whatever, she will be a more valuable asset comparatively to someone in the 20s, you see. But the women in the 40s, usually men will just dismiss already, 40s, whatever, right? I mean, I know it's not a very good, I sound what do you call it, gender bias, but I think there's an example that I like to showcase, because most people will like just quickly brush it off because of bias. But in the companies today, right, a lot of the old school stuff are still sexy, especially to stock geeks. You go dig. Hey, you didn't realize that this brand was there, this is there, this is there. Look at Louis Vuitton. Any one of the maisons, the brands they call it maisons, right? I think the youngest one is probably 50 years old. Youngest brand.
True.
All the other maisons, you're talking about 1800s, 1600 brands, It's like wine, the older you age them, the better it is. It's like Tua also, most recently, I made a trip to Sarawak, brought some businessmen over, and we were given a bottle of Tua. We poured it, and we said it's sour. And they complained it's sour. I said, oh wait, you age it, it becomes sweeter and sweeter as you age, So that kind of analogy.
Makes sense. It's very, very insightful, because I was just thinking about this. Like, it's like seems too good to be true. Yet, there must be something else going on.
Correct. So I think the question for Bonia, for Salene and for Louis, can they actually grow sales now? So they've proven that they can grow margins, target a higher, higher margin product. But now the struggle will be, can they really grow sales with people like Salene, people like Louis? Like for me, my wife, she's already converted to the Coach Charles Keith Longchamp, kind of thing, So for her, she wouldn't go there because of her age group also. But for the group like Salene, I'm still a big Braun Buffel fan. My wallets are all Braun Buffel. Okay, so how do you grow that segment? That is the question. That's why they're saying that tough lah. That's why market price it at 7 times. The expectation, there's always expectation built into the price, and this is where PE actually helps us look at market's expectation.
Okay, that's
Am I
very
making sense?
Okay. I think that's all the questions for me as well. So I think we wrap up today's episode. Okay, so that wraps up today's episode of our financial audit. So now over to you, our audience. Are you like Salene, someone who is thinking of buying your first stock? What did you think of today's analysis of Bonia? Comment below. If you enjoy content like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell. Thanks for tuning in today, and we hope to see you again in our next episode. Bye bye.